The Justice Department is now brainstorming aggressive tactics to clear homeless camps in cities and forcibly hospitalize people. Hey, you're involuntarily. You're going to go get some help, whether you like it or not. Is that what we're doing? A lot of you have said that's what we need to be doing. Is that what we're doing? Let's get into it. Here we go. And I think we do need to have some involuntary hospitalization, whether it's for mental or whatever issues you got mentally going on, or for treatment. Treatment is housing, right? Before we read that story, here's one from Seattle. This is an example of why we need to not let people live wherever the F they want in our parks. Wherever. This is West Kinnear Park. 10,000 pounds of trash removed from the Seattle Public Park. Let's watch this. This is like a minute-long video. So this is a good one because this shows the absolute basic chaos that is created by homeless folks and then how quickly it can be cleaned up with a massive swarm of We Heart Seattle volunteers. These are volunteers. The city does not pay these people, right? And this is up in a park area where it's steep. This is Volunteer Park in Seattle. I've been there. You've seen the footage. Here it is. Look at that. There's a barbell. Weight equipment. That was an organ. That was an upright organ. Look at this. Yes. I mean, that's how you get 10,000 pounds. Just random crap that people haul in there and then they just leave it. They just leave it. So bad. So bad. Look at that. You can almost hardly tell. There's that organ. Oh, nice pot of needles. Look at that. That's crazy. I love this zoom in right here. Yep, camping is prohibited. And I routinely say, hey, you got three options. You got jail, you got a mental facility, you got detox, you got rehab. Which one would you like to choose before going to your next stage of housing? Justice Department asks employees for ideas on how to more efficiently shift chronic vagrants away from the public square and into a more concentrated space to better deploy services. You guys talk about that all the time. We just need to put them on an island. And you know what? I don't disagree with you, but the mechanics of making this kind of thing happen are really difficult because at some point in time, you're going to have to take somebody's freedom away. Yeah, we can't have you staying here anymore, in town. We got to move you out to here, to this island where you're going to live happily ever after. I mean, you're going to live. Maybe not happily ever after, but you're going to live. Officials from the Justice Department who manage grant distributions are brainstorming ways to clear homeless encampments and increase the involuntary hospitalization of individuals with mental illness, according to an email obtained by the Washington Post. That needs to happen. We used to do this kind of thing. But then, we went down this road as a society, both Republicans and Democrats, that, people with mental illness, just let them run free. Just let them run into the wild. They'll be okay. Now you got them running around with swords. Literally, here is, no, it's not that one. Yeah, Naked Gardening Day. Seattle goes full bloom on Naked Gardening Day. Naked gardening, that's a bad idea. Don't do it. But how about this one? Rants, extremely unsanitary man soils Seattle bus. King County Metro lets him luck. A normal person does not go onto a bus and take an enormous crap and then leave. Just doesn't do that. And if you did, you'd be so mortally embarrassed. So this whole idea of involuntarily putting people in mental hospital, all right, this represents the latest indication that the Trump administration is following through on commitments to aggressively remove homeless people from public spaces. It's a local effort. And that's where, okay, in federal spaces, we're doing this. All right. So then it becomes whack-a-mole. You're no longer doing it in federal spaces. Well, what about Washington state spaces? We know how that goes. What about local Seattle spaces? And the homeless know where they can go and where they can't go. And they'll, readily figure it out when they get booted. And then they just move on down the block to where, okay, Seattle owns this. It's not Department of Transportation land. Just last month, President issued an executive order aimed at making the District of Columbia safe and beautiful, which instructed the National Park Service to remove all homeless encampments from federal land in the capital. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, folks who represent homeless folks are going to go, where should they go? Well, they should go into shelters. And that's what they're there for. But most of these folks don't want to go into shelters because they don't allow you to do a bunch of drugs in shelters. They don't allow you to steal. They don't allow you to just run amok and do your own thing. That's why most folks don't want to go, into any kind of shelter system. In the past, he has spoken of housing the homeless in tent cities on inexpensive land on the outskirts of cities and jailing those who refuse treatment. So we're looking for something in between that and the reality that we have right now, which is, just live wherever you want. It's all good. It's fine, which we know hasn't worked out well. That has been just a tragic, a massive tragedy on an enormous scale. I mean, look at how California has ended up. I mean, more homelessness there than anywhere else in the world. I mean, it's just, and a lot of it is voluntary. It's not about the cost of housing. It's people are dropping out, doing drugs, and living on the streets, living in the parks, living wherever, because they can. We see it in Seattle all the time. People, don't want treatment. They don't want to go to a psych ward. They don't want to go for an evaluation. They just want to do their drugs, live their lives, and, basically be. The email was sent on Thursday evening to employees in the Office of Justice Programs, included 8 questions asking for input on how best to redirect resources to issues concerning homelessness and mental illness. Recipients have until Wednesday to submit their responses. What can the Department of Justice do to more efficiently shift chronic vagrants away from the public square and into a more concentrated space so that order can be restored and resources and services can be deployed more effectively? One of the questions read. So that is one of the things is if you move the homeless from a homeless encampment into a different area of town, maybe they've been in downtown, they've been in the park system, wherever, you move them outside of town, how are they going to get the services? Well, you got to bring the services to them. You got to bring the services to them. So that becomes part of the issue is because in your downtown core, that's where all of your stuff is going on. Last night in Seattle, downtown Seattle, the 600 block of 3rd Avenue, they had a 2-person stabbing. 2 people got because they're probably all 3, the stabber and the stabbies, it was out in front of one of Seattle's most famous homeless hotels, the Morrison. And, a little stabbing is pretty normal for that kind of thing. It's just, you took my drugs. All right, I'm going to stab you. Boop. And I got you. Boop. Got you. The stabbings just happen on the regular out in front of the shelters. So, and that's in downtown Seattle because that is where all the services are concentrated. You've got all of the NGOs. You've got all the homeless folks there. So you move them outside, things get tricky. But I am in favor of anything that makes it more difficult for people to just sit around and be homeless and just not do anything at all. Anything you can do to disrupt that cycle, I am 100% on board with. And I encourage it. And so that's why, I always talk about you're going to have to involuntarily do some things with folks who are out of their minds. And you should be doing that, not only to keep them safe, but keep society safe. Right? The email stated that the White House had directed the department and other agencies to provide legislative funding and other solutions for issues related to homelessness, mental health, and more. I think somebody's going to figure it out. And somebody's going to be like, you know what? This is what we can do. And it's going to be pretty inexpensive. But what's gonna absolutely tank that approach is the homeless industrial complex, the billions and billions and billions of dollars of all of these non-governmental organizations that have their hand out, that make billions from this. Their CEOs of the nonprofits making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. They're going to be like, oh, no, we can't do that. That's inhumane. That is inhumane. That it violates constitutional law. I mean, you are violating their rights. As the individual takes an enormous crap on the bus because they're out of their mind and they're just like, can't really work out reality. Many email recipients in the Justice Department work with grantees and specialize in implementing the department's policies aimed at improving public safety through research and community support. What can the Department of Justice do to increase the availability and use of involuntary commitment for individuals with serious mental illness who otherwise cannot or will not receive care? What can we do? What can we do? Well, yeah, you are going to go with Mr. Police Officer into whatever it is. Alternatively, what can the federal government do to shift state and local governments' policies and behavior on this issue? All right, so there's another rub. Seattle, Big Blue Seattle. Oh, they're not going to like this at all. They're just going to take one look at this and go, Trump, orange man bad, he's terrible, hate him. They're going to burn an effigy and they're going to say, no, we love our homeless. And you look at that park with an organ in it that I showed you earlier. That's a park close to downtown Seattle. That's a park people are supposed to enjoy. Imagine taking little Johnny and Susie and you're walking through the park and you run across this area where it's just littered with garbage, hypodermic needles, human feces, smells like absolute urine. And it does, because I've been there, and it does. It was horrific. It was like, oh, people are living here? This is terrible. Staff were also asked for ideas on how to decrease panhandling and increase resources available to incarcerated people who face addiction and mental illness in federal prisons. Don't they have enough there? Don't they have enough resources there? I think so. We're talking about the homeless here. Let's just stay on topic. Let's just keep going with the homeless folks. Here's another interesting one. Another question asked staff how to prioritize mental health resources for people who suffer from the most serious mental illnesses. What federal resources should be redirected from supporting mental health treatment towards supporting the treatment of serious mental illness for the sake of prioritization of limited resources and efficiency? Efficacy is the word they used. You've only got so much in the way of money to go around. We all know it's billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. But we're not going to use that money meant for the homeless industrial complex. We're going to use money for mental health treatment because that's what's going to be available. It'd be a totally separate program, right? And that's just the way I see it happening. Traditionally, both Republican and Democratic administrations have focused on a housing first, which does not work, approach to homelessness and mental illness. Get people into stable housing and to direct them to mental health services or help with drug addiction. The email asked which federal programs should maintain such an approach. Is this going to really have an impact? I don't think so, but it is conversation in the right direction. These are the conversations that need to be happening. Unfortunately, in the states, counties, and cities that have the most homelessness, they're not going to be having any conversations at all because they love their homeless. Oh, love the homeless. Then you got Gavin Newsom just absolutely berating local government. You guys need to clean up your act. You look terrible. It's awful. You look terrible. Look at all those tents. What's wrong with you? And you look at areas of like Oakland and LA and Skid Row, and you're like, wow. There's some work to be done there. My immediate reaction is that they are talking to the wrong people for finding solutions to homelessness. I don't care who they're talking to. As long as they're trying to figure out a program, I'm all for it. The criminal justice system and Department of Justice cannot solve homelessness, he told the paper. The real solution is housing. Oh, it's housing. No, it's not. We've tried housing, and you know what? Build it, and they will come. How's that working out for you, state of California? How's that working out for you, Oakland? You let it happen, you let them run train on you, and here you are. How's that working out for you? If we just had some more housing, we could make this work. No, the more housing you build, the more homeless folks will come to that community and they take over. Not that hard to figure out. I mean, basic stuff. It's like harm reduction is all harm with no reduction, because you're basically giving people the tools they need to continue their drug abuse. Yeah, they still might die of an overdose because of the needle you gave them. But hey, let's be honest, they're not going to catch hepatitis C now. Oh, I feel so much better. Oh, I feel so much better. I've virtue signaled to the world. We're just going to, and it's based on data and the science. You're like, okay, you're giving somebody a tool that can kill them, and then you're patting yourself on the back that you did a good job, and you gave them a clean needle. Oh yeah, hooray. Oh, next day they used that needle and killed themselves with an OD, but oh, you know what? Virtue signaling. In June 2024, the Supreme Court ruled to allow the criminalization of homelessness. That was the big one. That was versus Grants Pass. After the conservative majority said it would allow laws that permit police to ticket, fine, or arrest those who sleep in public areas. I don't think homeless people should just willy-nilly be run around and arrested and carted off. But if there's a pattern and they don't want to take whatever offer is held out to them, then yeah, hey, we're gonna need to take you to shelter. And if you don't want to go there, then we've got issues. And that's when you start to get into the, what kind of help can we give you? How can we help you help us? And the thing that you're dealing with here is that you are dealing with people who are either out of their minds due to addiction, or they're just out of their minds to begin with. And that's how they ended up on the streets, is that we've let all of these mentally incapacitated people hit the streets. And you know what they do? Even if they're not a drug addict to start, they will get into drugs because they're trying to self-medicate. They're trying to make themselves feel better or feel nothing relative to the pain that they've got going on deep down inside them. So letting them just run around the streets and stab each other, that's not something that's going to fly. But that is what literally big blue cities, states, counties, that's what they bank on. If we just had some more housing, we could get them into housing. These aren't people that want housing. These aren't people that want shelter. These are people that are hell-bent on destroying their own lives and destroying everybody else around them with their drug use, and they may not even understand how mentally incapacitated they are because they're crazy. And I don't mean that in a negative connotation. They're crazy. They are literally mentally insane and on drugs. And then we wonder why we have all these news stories. We don't really wonder. We know why. But then the left tries to pin it on, it's an expensive city and they got kicked out of their home and they couldn't afford this, and a bunch of excuses, right? There's always a whole bunch of excuses instead of, you know what? Life got tough. I dropped out, started doing a bunch of drugs, and now I live in a van down by the river, right? I mean, that's literally where this goes. So now you've got federal entities looking in on this, like, hey, what are we going to do? What can we do here? What are some ideas you guys can give us that we can start implementing on a federal basis? That'll be interesting to see what comes up there. But, homelessness for the most part is a state thing. It's a local thing. It's a county thing, depending on where it's happening. And each jurisdiction has so much leeway in how they handle it. You are starting to see more and more entities kind of sit and think to themselves, now, what would happen if we involuntarily committed some of these people to either treatment or to getting some mental help? What would happen then? Because so much of this is all a reflection on nobody wants to take away somebody else's freedoms. And I get that. But when they are a safety hazard, not only to themselves, but to their community, you gotta do something. That's why we have laws. We literally have laws. I love at the end of that video, the Andrea Sawara as We Heart Seattle, that close up on that camping prohibited. You're just left with, yeah, that is a rule and you're not supposed to live there, but Seattle has blown past that. Portland, San Francisco, any big blue liberal cities. Oh yeah, live wherever you want. It's good. We love you, man. We love you, man. And now they're trying to, put that genie back in the bottle and, oh, good Lord, got 187,000 homeless folks or whatever it was in the last point in time count, the last pit time in California. So are we headed more to this direction? Yeah, we absolutely have to be. Is it going to happen soon? No, this is going to be a long, slow grind. What'll happen is you'll have a bunch of people that'll get murdered by some homeless people that are crazy, and then there'll be some legislation, and then everybody will freak out and go, how quickly can we get this done? Because I don't feel safe walking my streets anymore with out there. And you're like, that's been out there forever, and you allowed it to happen, and you voted in politicians who allowed that to happen. So that's on you. It's on you to make that vote count. All right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.